Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here tonight or um, anytime, whatever you are. It is really a privilege to be able to share with you a little bit. I want to share a little bit about um, myself and also about the context where I live, I work, and I grew up. Um, I grew up in Managua, Nicaragua, and growing in Nicaragua was difficult. By my 11th year, I have witnessed violence. I have going, I have going through the insurrections, and my family was dealing with many, many challenges. So talking about hope, it was very difficult, and it was just a little bit like a dream that we could know grasp, because in the context of Latin America where I grew up, we have faced for hundreds of years um, so much violence. Here I'm showing you a picture of where show from the Spaniards coming into Orlando through the armies perpetrating violence into the poor. And some of those violence were done in the name of Christ, of the church, who also brought a lot of oppression to the people that live in Orlando here. We are exposed to so many challenges, but nevertheless, we always have the presence of Christ walking with us. And I really appreciate what you're sharing about Monsignor Romero, because I also gonna share a little bit about El Salvador. Some of the challenges that we face in our context here in Latin America, I will say, are challenges of migration, where people have to leave their houses, sometimes from the countryside to the city, but then also into leaving their countries because they don't have access to food, security, safety, and this is very hard to find hope in those conditions. We have a dense population within the or cities here, and also we have desert areas where because the violence, people have needed to flee their communities. In the picture above is in Puerto Prince in Haiti, and the one in the bottom is in Colombia, where people have fled for their life into the cities, trying to find a place where they can be safe. We also are prone to suffer the impact of climate change, where it means severe droughts or floods or different precarious conditions for people to live from the land that they love and they work. We also face challenges in inequity, corruption, and impunity. And very sadly, it seems like nothing is changing. There's no justice for a large majority of the people in our region. We live violence that is structural, that also is a way to eliminate those who doesn't think alike, the people in the power or people who has money. We live condition of sexual and gender violence. We also find revenge because people don't trust in their justice system. So people just come in and they want to get some sort of retribution for whatever violence they have suffered. We also face violence to control territory, especially just to be able to oppress others within the same communities. And then we also have cultural violence, those who think they are better or those who are from a different race within our own context. That's very much, we share a lot of what are you facing in North America. We face issues of racism and xenophobia too. And it's hard when we see all this situation, how we can think about hope. Because when we talk about hope, we cannot think about the hopes, the different hopes that Edgardo was mentioning. Because hope in many times has been as a way to also oppress the people, the vast majority of the people, saying that we need to suffer enough and that we need to suffer and we will, when we die, we're gonna have a better life in heaven. We're gonna be walking on the golden street and live in a mansion. So we need to suffer here. But the hope that I wanna share today about, it's about the hope that brings dignity to the people, the hope that cultivate liberation and also justice. I'm gonna present you Melina. She's a woman from El Salvador. And I think when I think about her, I think about a rock star because she is strong, she's capable, and she has hope for a better future. I met Melina last November through one of my visits to El Salvador. She shared with us her story. And her husband and her farm a small piece of land in El Salvador. And because of climate change, there was no enough food to bring to their house where they had 3 children. And Melina and her husband make the hard decision for her to go into San Salvador and work as a house help to bring some cash into her house. She was allowed to only come once a month for the weekend to spend with her family to see how they were doing. And that was hard on her and in her children, especially because in her territory, it's also guns, and she has a 16-year-old boy, and she was always afraid that he will be recruited by the gun activity. She heard about a project that one of the NCC partners that was bringing into the community about new practice in agriculture. And also they were talking about diversification of their crops, but also they were talking about organizing and also speaking with their mayor about better conditions, having access to water, because they needed to for their crops and also for their communities. So Melina again make another decision and she come back to the community. And then he in the photo in the middle, she's there with her props showing what she have able to get from her land. That morning that we were visiting her plots, she was just really excited about what she have there. And then she quickly changed and she said, I'm joining the rest of the afternoon with you. I'm coming to talk with the women's group that she's part of. She, together with a group of women, organized themselves, and they has been having many conversations with the mayor in her communities. So this is her when she's not only just waiting to see something that will happen, but she's wanted to make things happen in her community and in her country, in El Salvador. The second story that I wanna show you and share with you today, it's in Haiti. It is in a place called Sakala. Sakala is a small organization, and there are in Cité Soleil, which is the biggest slum in Haiti, and they say it's the biggest in the northern hemisphere. They live around 400,000 people in that community, and no one wanna go there. The people just live there. There's a lot of gun violence. And here we find this organization that's called Sakala, and that word, it's actually 3 words from Creole, and the name means it can be here. So they have a practice with anger management with the kids, conflict transformation, and they use different ways to approach the issues that they are seeing and living in the community. Here we see the coach. He's a 28 years old, and he believes that it can be there in his community. He's organizing about 12 soccer teams, and they go and play in the community. And the standard is who plays the best, not in the sportsmanship only, but also who plays fair, because they think that that is something that they need to be able to bring the community. So this league of people, they have played with different soccer teams, and they have not won yet the championship, but the last 3 years they have gained the prize to play fair. And from a community where no one wanna go, imagine just getting to be the best team and gaining the one to be fair play. They have teams for boys and girls. They also have activities where also girls can come, and they also have a garden within this heart of Cité Soleil. And they say this can be here. They are presenting about the project, and I just love the proudness in their face, and also just showing all of us like, yes, this can be here and now. The third story that I want to share with you this morning has to do with the communities in the northern of Colombia. This is the Afro Descendant communities, where because the coca productions, the government of Colombia had a huge campaign that decided to eradicate all the coca productions within the communities. But what happened is they didn't take into account that even it might be some coca plantation, there were farmers and people living that don't live out of coca, and they farm their earth to be able to get their productions. But they didn't do anything, and the community decided to bring the case up, and they start speaking about the impact of those campaign and that irrigation we're having in the people and in their crops. Here we see them speaking in front of the US Congress, saying that the US government need to stop the help to the Colombian government for that campaign. And luckily, that campaign of fumigation was stopped. And the pastors that we see here, one is a pastor and the other is a community leader. Their names are Hermano Javes Benitez and Rutilio Rivera. They came forward and they needed to speak out about what they were living. What those three stories have in common? Those three stories have in common that people have hope for liberation, but also for redemption. They wanna be able to see where they are, have their situation and conditions. One of the challenges, as we see, it is that sometimes those processes take years, but we see people who is no willing to lose hope because they know that they need to continue fighting, they need to continue moving forward to be able to get the change in their life and in the conditions there, the communities. One thing that I want to share with you also, it's saying like hope is a gift, but you don't receive gift if you are not creating resources for it. Reasons for hope not just drop from the sky, they come from below, from what people are doing or what people are not doing. I think that we need to be able to engage in change what we are being presented in this time. And I think we are in times where there are no easy times, but we need to be able to act, to seek not only the good for the few, but the good for the all. As Edgardo was sharing, that's what made Monsignor Romero took a step up just to denounce the injustice and the violence that the people in El Salvador was living. We have the situation in Haiti where it was the first Black country that got their liberation in the early 800s. But also we see that that has been very hard on them. They have suffered huge poverty, violence, but we also can find people who continue coming from below and doing something because they believe that things can happen there, good things can happen there. And also we have the people in Colombia where they continue hoping. They have been able to continue moving forward, bringing dignity, bringing justice to the people, and being able to bring for more than themselves, but seek for the good of the others. It doesn't matter how small the steps, the work that we are doing. It doesn't matter if we are in El Salvador or if we are in Haiti or if we are in Colombia. The importance is that we all take the chance to dream, the change, and see what our contribution can be for this context. Are we gonna allow things continue as they are, or are we willing to hope and take action? And I think that will be my invitation for you today. Are you willing to be a Melina? Are you willing to be a soccer coach? Are you willing to be a Rutilio who will come forward and make a change in their communities? I think we all have the opportunity to promote hope that brings dignity and liberation to all the people that we work, that we serve, and that we live around with.